I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about, can I get them back if I was insecure?
Ooh, we're going to talk about it. But before we do, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go to the website and book from there.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that we're always trying to help people see is how our insecurities, our attachment traumas, come out in our romantic relationships. And so we're always trying to educate you, because the more you start to see these things, the more you're going to be able to control yourself, because you're going to know what you have to do differently to have a stronger connection. We are responsible for our relationships. We have to take care of them. We have to nurture them. But many people get into a routine and they don't take care of their partner anymore. They just assume their partner's going to stay forever, that their interest level is always going to be there. And quite honestly, people get tired and leave. They just feel like life is too short to stay with somebody who's not making them happy anymore. And especially if they're communicating those things and they're not making any changes to do things differently.
Right. And insecurities are bound to come out in a relationship at some point.
Yeah.
It's part of the relationship, being able to be vulnerable with each other with things that you might feel insecure about yourself. So
one of the areas that we see a lot of insecurity is jealousy.
Oh, yeah.
We see people jealous of exes that may be lingering in the past, or new people that are trying to get your partner's attention. But this is why I always say you always want to court your partner. You always want to, take care of that relationship, make things fun and interesting. If you don't take care of it, it just gets weaker. And when it gets weaker, people are more likely to leave.
Right. And your insecurity isn't your partner's responsibility. So many of you try to put restrictions on your partner thinking that it will make you feel better. Might for a little bit of time, but here we're trying to get at the root issue of things. We're trying to really build that internal security so that no matter what situation you're in, you will be okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because your partner has a past. They have people in their past that you may not like. They have people that may be presently in their life in ways that you don't like. And of course, we have to set boundaries with people and do things to make our partner feel safe and connected. But if our insecurities keep coming out, it usually leads to big breakup fights. So I've got a good email coaching today from a guy in his early 40s who has a son, and he was dating a woman that has a couple of kids in her mid-30s. He said, I met her in the summer of 2024 on dating apps, and we quickly formed a bond. Our relationship blossomed over the next 3 months, during which I spent alternate weeks living in her house, while the other weeks I spent living with my son. So, it's a complicated situation, but it's just part of life sometimes, where people have previous relationships, they have children with other partners, and so navigating those things can be a struggle, especially if you're insecure.
Right. And I could see how the key here is how quickly the relationship moved. So they had met some months ago, and now they're spending, it sounds like, maybe even weeks at a time together.
That's right. And that's the insecurity. It's not healthy to be moving into somebody that you've been dating for a month. Okay, this whole thing was 3 months. So at what month was he moving in there? Probably by the second month, right?
And part of moving quickly is you get a lot of information about your partner really fast, maybe even faster than you can process. And so insecurities coming up makes sense because you don't really know all that's there. When you get to know someone slowly, you process each bit of information. There might be little things that make you feel insecure, but then you learn more about them in some way or another.
Yeah.
But getting all of that all at once can be a lot.
Absolutely. He says, initially our dates were enjoyable, and I was drawn to her directness and openness. She was eager for a serious relationship, despite never having experienced a long-term commitment. So got a red flag here for me. Mm-hmm. She's in her mid-30s. She's never had a long-term relationship.
Just something to note.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Right? And the directness. Mm-hmm. That also sounds like an avoidant, right?
Could be.
So we have two things that already sound avoidant, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody's direct. Avoidants tend to be direct, right?
Or blunt, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just telling you the truth.
It's just how it is.
I'm just telling you the truth. But you just said I was hideous. But it's the truth. You don't want me to lie, do you?
We'll give him that.
Obviously, it's a silly example, but avoidants are known to say things just like that, right? Mm-hmm. She had faced employment challenges for years, often feeling isolated and masking her struggles with a facade of happiness. While we connected deeply, I noticed her tendency to seek emotional support without pursuing concrete solutions to her problems. It's an interesting observation.
That is an interesting observation.
She had a complicated past with her ex. We'll call him Damon. Or maybe Demon.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. We'll call him Damon. Damon the Demon.
No.
No? You sure?
Positive.
Okay. If you change your mind at any point, let me know.
There's people here watching named Damon. Say, oh, it's wrong my name.
They're just Damon. This is Damon the Demon. That way you don't get confused, right? All right. So now Damon is her 2-time ex and 2-time living companion.
He's a 2-timer.
Yeah, I guess so. 2-time and Damon the Demon? Maybe.
All right.
She referred to him as quote-unquote just a friend, or quote-unquote him.
He who shall not be named?
Damon the Demon. It's him.
I'm also curious about their relationship, if there's a reason why he's not being named, or if there is a level of discomfort in bringing him up because she knows that he will feel uncomfortable, her current partner will feel uncomfortable by saying his name.
Yeah. It definitely sounds a little suspicious both ways. But he was the ex, and he had lived with her several times. But as you're going to see, this is going to make him really insecure. Okay? They had recently lived together, and he had lent her a significant amount of money to purchase her business, creating a financial obligation that weighed on her heavily. Now remember, this woman has had a long history of unemployment or employment issues, whatever they may be. So this guy comes along, says, let me give you the money. Now she's going to feel guilty. She's going to feel pressured for the business to be successful.
There's a tie.
There's a tie. But not only that, like if somebody helps you like that, you're going to feel guilty about cutting them out completely, right? You're going to be like,
there's a sense of pressure there.
I can't cut this person out. They helped me out. You know what I mean?
And he might be continuing to help her.
Well, exactly. That's a good point. But his insecurity about it is going to make him really get upset. But watch what happens here. Their relationship appeared intimate and familial, with Damon playing a fatherly role in her children's lives. Despite my discomfort with their closeness, she reassured me of her commitment to our relationship. So, you can see it's bothering him. He's giving her money. They've been together on and off. He's still like a father to her kids. And it's making him really uncomfortable.
Right.
Which, to some degree, it makes sense. But if you're insecure, it's going to make it worse.
Right. And naturally, he's trying to build that relationship and connection with her and her children. So imagining another man coming along and already having an existing bond, it does feel threatening.
Yeah.
You want to be in that position where you can feel like, I don't know for him, but he might feel like he wants to be a father in those children's lives. So it could sting a bit.
Yeah, and we don't know Damon's motives.
Right.
Right? Does he care about her genuinely because they've been on and off for years and he cares about her kids and wants to help? Or is he romantically interested? What do you guys think?
Well,
We're going to find out.
I think it's a good question. And depending on how long they were together, the nature of their relationship, it might make sense that he's still in their lives and in the children's lives.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes breakups are very unique, and in some situations, people hang around to continue that relationship with the kids for the kids' sake. Mm-hmm. So it's something that happens.
Things came to a head during a family event where Damon's rude behavior toward my son was alarming. Ooh. See, I told you he was Damon the Demon. Ooh. Look at that. He was rude to his son. And I'll just say his son is younger. Okay? The incident prompted me to confront her about their dynamic. I questioned whether he was providing financial support or had intentions to rekindle a family relationship. She insisted that he was merely a friend and that her feelings for me were genuine. However, I couldn't shake the feeling of being sidelined, especially after learning that he had offered $2,500 as a gift for a holiday.
Ooh, that's a steep gift.
Okay, so I think at this point we know Damon's true intentions. Okay?
Well, it could be relative. How much does Damon make?
That's
Maybe
true.
that's pocket change for him. Who knows?
That's a good point. But let's see. Right? I mean, It's not about the business anymore. Mm-hmm. It's about, here's $2,500 for your vacation.
Right, and it's personal.
Yeah, exactly. That's very different.
Now, I will say it could make sense in light of the family event that happened, and it could make sense if the money was more geared towards the kids. We don't know what kind of relationship he has with them. Maybe he's trying to set them up for the future. It's not uncommon for a gift during this type of family event to be like a bank account, something to add to the bank account to get someone started, things like that. However, him bringing up these concerns to his partner is important.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like she's been receptive so far, but he's concerned. This is not only about trust within himself and security in himself, it's also about being able to trust her in that environment.
But he also has to do this in a very careful approach, knowing that this guy did help her to get her business going and that she's going to feel some kind of pressure or obligation to at least be friendly with him and not just cut him out.
Right.
Okay. But if he does anything bad, you just do devil horns, okay? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Here we go.
Let's hope that she's blunt enough to keep things in line with Damon.
Okay. So he had offered her $2,500 a gift for a holiday and his desire to have her and her kids as his family.
Huh?
Where are the horns? I told you they were...
That's very bizarre.
Well, come on. He's making his interest clear at this point.
But the way that that's worded, and as a gift for holiday, and his desire to have her and her kids as his family.
Yeah, that's like, I want to be with you. I want us to be a family. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm understanding. The money is for the holiday for them to go all together as a family. Is that the idea? Maybe.
You could be right. It's just that it's a little confusing based on the way he worded it. But to me, I think his interest is clear here. Let's go on. After a heated discussion, we parted ways as friends. That night, I sent her numerous texts, prompting her to declare she needed a break to think, which swiftly escalated to a breakup. Well, you could see that coming. When things like this happen, it's really likely to fall apart. You'd have to take things really, really slow at this point to turn it around.
Right, and just what you were saying before, she's had this life before him. So now he's coming in as a new partner. Yes, there's a standard that he's expecting. There's a level of respect that he's expecting. And he's also changing around the dynamic. So that likely is not going to happen overnight.
Yep. Despite my efforts to reconnect, her demeanor grew colder with each interaction. He needed to pull out. He needed to back off at that point. But our desire to stay connected just consumes us, and everything inside of us just says, repair, repair. But it's usually the exact opposite that we have to do in these situations. When I visited her to collect my belongings, she seemed emotionally detached, almost as if she had already moved on. So what do you guys think? Before you go on, do you guys think, leave a comment, do you think that she's interested in Damon, or do you think she sees him as a friend?
This is a hard question. You know, so far it sounds like she's been somewhat receptive to him, but there's reached a certain point where she was pressed too far and then started to shut down. So I don't think that necessarily means she's on Damon's side here. She might just be on the side of, hey, trust me.
Yeah, I agree, but let's see what happens here. Even our physical closeness, marked by lingering hugs and kisses, could not bridge the emotional distance she maintained, clearly indicating that her decision was final. In the following days during our breakup, I noticed she was actively using dating apps again. And Damon re-entered her life 100%.
Wow.
So, of course, I think this guy had his motivation all along.
Well, there's a bit of a mixed message here. So she's on the dating apps, but also this past partner is back into her life?
Well, sure. I think what happened is his goal all along was to be with her. She's not interested, so she's on the dating apps. But he's trying to make his move while he thinks the window of opportunity is there.
I see. And here she is, you know, a single mother. So I imagine that him being around, they already had an existing dynamic. He's helping her out financially. We don't know how else he may be helping her as far as tasks or responsibilities, things to do. So it would make sense that that might be an easy transition.
But if she's really interested in Damon, I don't think she gets on the dating apps.
I would agree.
Right? This led me to question whether I had been merely a rebound, especially given the ongoing contact I observed between them. That doesn't make any sense to me, because if she was really interested in Damon, she wouldn't have gotten on the dating apps. Why would she? If her interest is that high in him.
Right.
I don't think she has one. I think he was insecure that she had one, and he was insecure because of that dynamic they had. But at this point, we haven't really seen her do anything inappropriate. Right?
Yeah.
As far as we can tell, she hasn't done anything to, you know, hurt this dynamic. She seems like she's been upfront with him, and she's kind of said, I'm not interested in him. And so we don't see anything that she's done wrong.
Right. I would agree.
When I went to pick up some things from her, her attitude confused me. Initially cold and uninterested, she later became animated, discussing her fitness goals and expressing concerns about her body. It's interesting. She's trying to get some, fishing for some compliments there.
I don't know.
Right? Despite the emotional distance, we shared moments of physical closeness, like a kiss, and her allowing me to touch her bare stomach beneath her blouse.
Okay.
Sounds pretty intimate to me.
That's what it sounds
right?
like.
So it tells me, I think she's still physically attracted to him, but she's probably turned off by his insecurities and his insecure behavior.
Right. That would make sense to me.
Right?
And in this situation, too, I wonder at what point he knew about this ex being a part of her life, because he signed up for this in a way.
Yeah.
So if he was aware of it and then decided to move in on that weekly basis agreement that they have going on, then, you know, it's kind of like it's part of it, right?
Well,
and this is why we say take your time to get to know someone, because you want to have an idea of what they're involved with, what their relationships look like with others, before you put yourself in a situation where you might be more dependent on each other than the situation calls for.
It almost comes across like he comes into her life expecting to take over, and all of a sudden you're going to do things my way. You're not going to talk to this guy anymore. Like a guy that's helped her for years. I know they've been an ex, but he's also given her the ability to run her own business, and that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
All right, there's a little bit more.
Okay.
Now in no contact with her, I focused on my growth and learning to manage my emotional responses, especially regarding attachment dynamics. Now, I don't think he's doing the creative healing course or the workbooks, but I think it would really help him. I've realized that while I can tolerate distance in relationships, my anxiety spikes whenever I perceive that my partner might prioritize an external event or person over me. Well, she's got kids, buddy, so you better be prepared. Mm-hmm. My question is, who is Damon in all of this? He appears to represent a significant, complex presence in her life, serving as both financial and emotional support. And will she come back to me? Well, okay. So we covered a lot of this already, but I think that she's not interested in him romantically, at least at this point. Mm-hmm. We don't have any evidence that she is. She was on the dating apps, so that tells me if she was really interested in Damon, why would she get on the apps? So I think she really appreciated this guy taking care of her and her kids financially and feeling some kind of obligation to stay friendly or friends with somebody who's doing that for you. She's not just going to cut off this guy who may even be presently helping her. We know he offered the money for the vacation.
Right.
For somebody new that she's only been dating for a few months.
Right. And you can ask for anything that you want in a relationship. So I wonder if this conversation had gone differently. He might have asked for a bit more reassurance. He might have asked for, other ways to be able to help her and show up in her life. Here it seems like he's trying to control the situation from afar, and he has the opportunity here to interact with Damon at these family events, so on and so forth. So why not try to gain more information about this really important person in your partner's life?
Well, I think Damon's agenda is clear. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think Damon is interested in her, and he's kind of said, I want us to be a family together. So I think he's kind of using all of the kids as an umbrella, but he really means I want to be with you. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Damon is going to be receptive to this guy at all. I think he's going to try and sabotage it.
But I do think he has an opportunity to show confidence, because he can show up at that family event and become very argumentative, very combative with this person's ex-partner. And how do you think she feels in that moment?
Hey, buddy, thanks for the money for that trip. We had a great time. Next time, do you think you could give $4,000? I mean, we're really wanting to go to Hawaii, and we thought you could help.
So, we're all about expanding possibilities here. And I think one of the possibilities was for him to exhibit confidence in
And we'll need a ride to
situation.
the airport.
Hey, what's going on, Damon? How's life been like for you? What have you been up to? Tell me about who you are. What's going on here? He needs to have more information to make better choices moving forward.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And if this dynamic that she has with him is not working out for his own emotional state, sometimes it can be too much. Sometimes you don't want to be with a partner who has that close ties with an ex. That's okay.
And that's something that you have to figure out in time, not 3 months into dating,
right.
That you're going to expect somebody who's paying bills for your partner when you're not paying your partner's bills, and you're just going to expect them to cut them off, or when they're paying for vacations for their kids. Like, come on, let's be reasonable here.
Right.
Like,
and he can
think about it from her perspective.
Right. And he can ask more about what types of boundaries she's setting with Damon, so on and so forth. And
exactly.
So there's different approaches here.
Yeah. And setting boundaries is something that he could have suggested doing in time. But I think his insecurities caused him to handle this in a way that made her lose attraction for him.
Right. And you have to be so careful with assumptions here, because it seemed like he jumped to a lot of assumptions about the situation, some of which were right. We'll give him that. However, on her end, it puts her in a position where now she has to defend Damon.
And there's a huge difference as if she had done something inappropriate and she didn't. Like, if she's doing something inappropriate, obviously that's something you really need to address and figure out if that's what you want to pursue. But from what we could tell, we didn't see anything inappropriate other than her taking advantage of somebody that she's been in a relationship with for years on and off, that's trying to help her and her kids. Whether or not you think that is right or wrong, that's a personal decision.
It is very personal.
But I do think a lot of people would think that it's not right for her to do that. But also, if you're in her position, I think a lot of women were going to take advantage of that situation. So you got to kind of look at all the perspectives here.
This is a tough one.
Is he still Damon the Demon?
I don't know. After all of this, it's hard to...
Yes, because he knew what was going on.
Yes, but it's hard to know because we don't know the nature of their relationship.
That's true.
And we don't know how invested he really is with the kids.
I like his nickname, though, so I want to stick to it.
You know what it's like to have a connection with someone's kids and to feel like a family and to have that, be dissolved. So I think more information is needed here. I definitely think that a cool, calm, and confident demeanor would have completely changed the outcome of this.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really the point that we're trying to get.
Yeah. Insecurities come out in a lot of different ways, and if you don't work on them, they're going to come up in different ways in your relationships, just like it happened with him.
All right.
All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.